Welcome to the Beverage Clique Podcask, discussions revolving around drinks with an Asian perspective. I'm your resident host, Sean O, certified beverage specialist and co-founder of the Beverage Clique Academy in Singapore. And here is this month's episode.
And welcome back, team comrades, to the Beverage Clique Podcast. I'm your resident host, Sean O. And today we are in Munich. We've just actually completed our beer sommelier program by Dorman's Academy. So I have with me today Mr. Rodrigo Dahl. He's also a native from Portugal. I'll let him talk a little bit more about himself in a bit. How did you do for your exam? Okay?
Yeah, exam went pretty well.
Yeah.
I think everyone is happy.
Yeah, I think all of us passed. So I think
all of us passed. We are all fond of beer, so that helped, I guess.
Yes. Well, actually, beer is kind of new to me in a way, but it's a good thing that all my other knowledge still back me up a little bit. But let's talk a little bit more about you and your native country, as well as how the beer market is there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe let's start by introducing yourself. What do you do?
Yeah, so I'm Rodrigo, as you already pointed out. I'm from Portugal, specifically from the city of Oporto in the north. I love beer. I've loved beer. I mean, there were two moments in my life that were very that marked my discovery of the world of beer, because naturally one doesn't really like beer. It's kind of bitter. Children usually like sweet things, right?
That is true.
So bitter things like beer it's not a natural thing. So it's an acquired taste. And I remember the first time that I drank beer and it didn't taste bad for me.
When was that?
It was in a summer festival, actually my favorite summer festival, music festival in Portugal and in the world, from the ones that I've been to. So it was like in the afternoon, and just like I wanted something to drink. They didn't have any soda or any juice. So okay, just give me a beer. And I had a beer for the first time, so this didn't taste bad. And from that moment on, okay. But that was step one, because that was mainly international lager style of beer. Mm-hmm. But the world of beer is much more deeper than just that. And the second step was when I went to Belgium, which is a fantastic country for beer. Mm-hmm. And I had there one of the Trappist beers, a Roquefort 10.
Okay.
And I drank a sip and I was like, this is beer? I know nothing about beer. And that was really the second step that really got me passionate about it.
Yeah. After this course, I think I still know nothing about beer.
Yeah. Me too. It's a continuous discovery, but yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic world.
Yeah. So that's kind of how you got into beer. How old were you back then?
So the first time I was 18 for the first step, and the second step I might have been like 26. No, earlier, 24. Okay. 23, 24. Okay. Something like that.
Okay, much like myself, I think you and I, we started very late. Well, if you consider some people drinking back. 16.
It was legal age. So.
It's a legal age. Yes. So do tell us a bit more about what you do, as in your own background.
Yeah. Okay. So I studied economics. Okay. So not very beer related. Mm-hmm. Then I went abroad for a year. I worked in Budapest for 1 year. Mm-hmm. It was a great year in terms of getting to know other cultures, because there were lots of interns there as well. In the program where I was at, I was with Isaac, so there were about 50 or 60 other interns in the city. So I got to know people from all over the world, and lots of beer conversations there as well, and getting to know different things. When I got back to Portugal, I was lucky enough to have a job or to get a job at Super Bock, which is a local brewery. One of the two biggest breweries in Portugal. Actually, it's the biggest one. We have a market share that's slightly above our main competitor. It's like it's duopoly, but we are leaders in that market in terms of beer. And so I started working there in supply chain, and then I moved on to marketing, market research, and then I did this post graduation in marketing, and I did a final job on our museum. Like I made a marketing plan for the museum. And it turned out really good. I showed it them inside in my company, and shortly after, I was given the responsibility of overseeing the museum itself. So that got me really close to the reality of beer. So ever since I've had this job or this assignment, I've done some hop harvests and some workshops combining pairings between beer and pizza, beer and cheese. So and the museum has a very important job of teaching people about beer, since Portugal is not really a beer country, it's a wine country. So people have no idea about this deeper world of beer that I just told you about earlier.
Okay.
And lately, I have also within my field of responsibility a couple of other brands, more a premium brand that we have in store, and a crafty one.
Okay.
So all related with Super Bock.
Right. Well, it's good to know that beer is a thing in Portugal, because usually most people, as you mentioned, most people think of Portugal, and the first drink they think about is probably fortified wines or even still wines. Yep. So, I mean, generally overview, how is the market doing for beer in Portugal?
So it's mainly a wine country, but if we look at the consumption per person, per capita in a year, there were some years in which the beer consumption was actually higher than the wine. Now COVID was there and things shifted a little bit, so wine is again the most consumed alcoholic beverage in the country, but not that much of a difference towards beer. But the difference is not about that much how many liters are consumed, it's about how the beverage is seen, like wine is in a very high status, like fine dining and all that.
Yeah.
And beer is still seen like it's a party drink or for young people and to drink a lot, or to drink while you're seeing football. And it is for all that, but it could be for much more as well. So we don't have like in Belgium, like beer is like the fantastic thing, is national pride. We still don't have that in my country, but it's a work to be done.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand that and appreciate that, because I think I'm one of those people that initially I thought that beer had no place in, say, fine dining or in food pairing.
Yeah.
Wow, I was completely blown. I mean,
yeah. I'm convinced that beer has more place in pairings than wine, because beer has a wider array of smells and tastes and aromas and personalities, let's say, than wine. Wine is more narrow lined than beer.
I agree. And talking about beer styles, is there a certain beer style that generally what Portuguese enjoy?
It's international lager. That's the main one. I mean, we also have like the dark lager segment. Also has a little bit
like a Donko, or
not necessarily. No, like more of a light Schwarz.
Light Schwarz. Okay.
Yeah, something more like that.
Okay.
But yeah, it's not the main one. It's international lager. Yeah. Although, like in 2011. That was the first year when we had a craft beer brand being commercialized, a national craft beer brand. And ever since then, the craft scene has been growing a lot in Portugal. So nowadays we have, I don't want to make any mistake, but I would say between 100 and 150 different brands of craft beers in Portugal, which is still a very small market segment, but it's very, very dynamic, and it has brought a lot to the beer as a whole, so it was very, very good. Has never been more exciting to be a beer lover in Portugal than nowadays.
Okay, well, talking about producers, and you just mentioned like 160 producers. Is there like a centralized location where they tend to be located at in Portugal, or is it all over the place?
You have certain, like, let's say in the bigger cities, you might have more of them concentrated, which is normal, I mean more clients, but you can have like almost everywhere. You have in interior, we have some islands also for part of the country. We also have craft breweries there. So almost anywhere you could find within, let's say, 50 kilometers, you'll find a craft brewery.
Oh, okay. Because wines tend to be tagged onto the geography of the location sometimes, the maturation. But obviously now we know that beer isn't really tagged onto that. Okay. Then what about things like raw materials? Would they come predominantly from Portugal, or do you think it's from overseas?
Okay, in terms of the of malt, and for the big industries, that will come mainly from Portuguese cereal.
Oh, okay.
So which is very good. In terms of hops, not as much. We produce hops, but only a little bit. Like the hop production in Portugal, it's good for about 5% of the beer that's produced totally. And so we have to import most of it from Germany. That's where it comes from.
Oh, okay.
As for the microbreweries, since they use a lot of specialty malts, that would be also coming mainly from Germany. I know lots of them from Environment, place where we were
just
yesterday.
Yeah. Okay, so predominantly from Germany. I just had this impression that maybe with the UK, because UK produces quite a bit of
hops. No, but but still, like you have two big hop producers global wise. That's Germany and that's the United States.
Yeah.
I mean, both of them together, I know that's about 80% of the production of hops in the world.
Oh, that's good to know.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm. You think, I mean, just generally speaking, you think the Asian market is something that the Portuguese beers, beer brands or craft brands are looking up to export to, or is it just?
Yeah, I know it's a market where some brands have been exporting to. It's a growing market, like everyone wants to be a part of that, because like let's say that a city in China with 10 million inhabitants, that's the same number of inhabitants that we have in Portugal. So like if we are able to be in one city with one brand, that's a huge plus for us. So and lots of craft beers also go for it. There's a high demand from China for different types of products.
Okay. So in terms of craft beer, there seems to be an upside to it. I just had this impression that it's exports is probably not something that Portugal is looking out for, because it's like places like Brazil, and I mean I haven't really spoken to Deborah and Eliza yet, but the thing is, who are classmates from Brazil, but consumption seems to be all within the country. So exports, I don't know. Perhaps maybe.
No, we do export.
Okay.
We do export. We
You think there's a certain style that people outside of Portugal would like to drink, something like exports or?
I think that the beer market as a whole globally is always thirsty for novelties. So that's why if you are able, maybe the local producers aren't producing anything new, or if you have something that is imported that's a little bit different, that could be something of an interest for consumers. And so exporting, always looking for new markets to export.
Okay. Locally, do you see? I mean, clearly there's quite a bit of craft beer going around, but do you see a lot of nightlife, bistros, restaurants serving beers more often than wine?
Not more than wine. Not more than wine, but at least I see now beer having a place in some restaurants where before there wasn't any place for beer in such a place, or during a meal with different beers, for example. We also have plenty of places that are opening just focused on craft beer,
right?
And so that helps. But it's a different type of culture. I mean, it's not that much. The craft beer venues are more about socializing. Like, then you can have like some sort of pop-up street food, and you just go there and have like a perfect burger. But still, like, it's a burger. It's not like you're dining with a plate and this and classical music in the background. So it's a little bit different. It's more fun, let's say. But this connection with food is definitely there.
Yeah. Okay. So talking about the beer sommelier for you, I mean, taking a certification. Are there many beer sommeliers in Portugal?
I don't know exactly how many, but I would say about 10, 20.
Okay, that's a good number. Yeah. How do you think this is gonna help you in your current role, or
Well, as I told you, we do a lot for let's say spreading the word about beer, and this will help me with even further knowledge to do so. I learned a lot during these weeks, and it's a sort of gives me credibility also to approach people, or to think about ways to do some sort of events that would enable or pass on this message of beer towards other people. So in a more complete way.
Okay. Just to pick a little bit in general your marketing mind, because clearly you are a marketer. How do you think beer can propel itself towards a more, well, probably, I'm not sure whether it will ever overtake wine, but to a more, maybe a more prestigious point, or a point whereby people tend to like, wow, beer is something that I really want to drink.
I guess that really is cultural, so it's really hard to change culture in a country towards that. I mean, you could try and influence people into acquiring new habits, but it's always a very troublesome thing. For example, if we were, as I said, in Belgium or even here in Germany, I mean, beer has a special place in most of the events and special events as well. But even like in our neighborhood, neighboring country, Spain, beer there is also seen even more socially as it is or consumed in more social events than it is in Portugal. Example, I was there quite recently ago. Yeah. It was a Monday night. We went into this around the corner bar or whatever, so not those many people there. It's Monday night, again, I tell you. And suddenly, like this group of, let's say, 10 ladies, like they were in their 50s, 60s, like all very well dressed in and makeup and everything, like if they were going out, and they all had cañas. Only one had wine. I was looking at that like, whoa, this is really cultural. I mean, this wouldn't happen in Portugal. So a lot of work has to be done in order to instill beer into those special moments. But it's not something that you can make in 1 or 2 years. That's like a very long process.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good point that you made. Between it's a Monday.
Yeah.
People still want to drink, and perhaps not really a sipping drink. Wine always gives me that sipping drink, or even a cocktail gives me a sipping drink. But yeah, I'm not saying you gulp it, in one sitting. But the thing is, if you're trying to just have a quick and easy, something to unwind at the end of the day, that works perfectly.
It's perfect. Right. It has less alcohol than wine, so it won't get you as
buzzy, right?
Buzzy-headed as the wine or other beverages. Like it's a perfect beer.
Great. Well, what beer is this that you bought?
So we're actually having a Japanese rice lager.
Oh, right, the one that.
Yeah, this is very, very nice. Very nice beer.
You brought this, right?
Yes.
Nice. I mean, it's
this is one of the brands that we have. Selection 1927, so Japanese rice lager. This one best international style. So it was considered the best Japanese rice lager of the world last year, 2021. So it's a very, very light beer, very well balanced, very crisp. I mean, you can have this as a refreshment, like a refreshment, not in terms of soda or whatever, no, like something to really refresh yourself. There is some salt in it, marine salt, and a combo seaweed. So it has a little bit of this saltiness, which in this small amount will give it a lot of freshness. So it's a very, very balanced and good beer to have. And well, it would go great with sushi or with something like Caesar salad for a starter. It's really, really good.
Yeah, I have to admit, this is my first rice lager.
Really?
Yes.
All right.
I've given you my virginity.
Yeah, okay. Well.
But it's awesome. I think it definitely has a place in the beer world. I think with that, and thank you for introducing the rice lager to me. I think with that, it's probably a good time to wrap up this episode of.
We should wrap it up with a toast then.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Rodrigo.
Thank you for asking me.
I hope to see you soon again.
Yeah, and
hopefully in Portugal.
Good beers for the rest of your life.
Yep. Cheers.
Yeah, thank you. Cheers.